Calling the meeting to order. This meeting has been posted and announced in accordance with Chapter 231, P.O. 1975. Mr. Jacobs, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Kugler,
Yes.
Mrs. Torres,
Here.
Mr. Zangari,
Present.
Mr. Frida,
Here.
Mr. Wanda,
Here.
Mrs. Lombardo,
Here.
Lombardi, Mr. Rivera.
Here. Is there any discussion of the public business meeting minutes for March 19, 2014? Hearing none. We have an SGO rep here tonight, Shelley Cordero. Ms. Cordero, welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shelley Cordero, and I am the Student Government Organization Vice President. On Wednesday, March 26th, the Student Government Organization held our first Spring Fling Dance at the high school to raise money for the UNICEF Children of the Philippines relief effort. Over 400 students attended, and over $2,600 were raised. Thank you to all the students and staff who participated. The Belleville High School will host our spring sports pep rally during school to support our spring athletes on Friday, April 11th. On behalf of the Belleville High School, students and staff, we would like to congratulate the cast and crew of Susical the Musical for the amazing performances last week. We would also like to congratulate members of the FBLA organization, Joseph Morante and Paulo Hinahan, for placing third at the State Leadership Conference events March 27th and 28th, qualifying for nationals. Also to Fiorella Rios and Abby Hinahan for placing fifth. Congratulations to all. We are extremely proud. Thank you. That is all from my speech.
Thank you, Ms. Cordero. Item to be presented by administration. Madam Superintendent.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to say congratulations to Shelley and the students at Belleville High School for their always giving attitude and feelings and helping those who are less fortunate. I have no other reports this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Items, remarks, and committee reports will be presented by board members. Mr. Kugler.
Yes, I'd like to just give a brief update that the budget committee met. First, we had a meeting back in October with the board and the committee, and basically started discussing the current audit findings and our progress and mediation plan for it, and some of the items that were addressed by the committee and auditors to reduce possible overspending. Then we had two follow-up meetings in March, where basically we discussed the current corrective action plan and basically what our 2014-15 budget will be. Then we also discussed with Mr. Jacobs our budget process for 2015 and what items we possibly could look into if they were overexpended or not. Mr. Jacobs is also working with our new treasurer to go over our cash reconciliations and the county to present our corrective action plan going forward, not only for the 2014-15 plan, but our corrective action plan for 2013-14. And that's basically it. We're going to probably have a follow-up meeting next week with Mr. Jacobs and the budget committee. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Kugler. Mrs. Torres.
No, not tonight.
Thank you, Mrs. Torres. Mr. Zangari.
No comments.
Thank you, Mr. Zangari. Mr. Frida.
No report tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Frida. Mr. Longo. Thank you, Mr. Longo. Mrs. Lombardi.
Hi, I'd like to give a quick budget committee update. We are applying for two more, not budget, I'm sorry, grant committee. You already did that. Grant committee update. We are applying for two more grants. The School Board Insurance Group grant for approximately $7,700, and that would be for CPR first aid training to to bring an instructor to the district to train students and staff. Also a DOE grant, which is worth $150,000 for instructional improvement system developed by the DOE to support teachers to help teach to the Common Core. And that's all I have tonight as well.
Thank you, Mrs. Lombardi. I had the opportunity to attend this year's play, Susan the Musical. I'd like to thank both the staff and the students. The play was wonderful, and I hope that many of you had the opportunity to attend and support our students in their endeavor. It was a great night for all. Remarks by public citizens. Remarks regarding agenda items and issues that are relevant to the educational system. A participant must sign in and be recognized by the presiding officer and must preface comments by announcement of his or her name, place of residence, and group affiliation if appropriate. The individual called shall proceed with a maximum of 5 minutes. All statements shall be directed towards the President of the Board of Education. No participant may address board members individually. I have a motion to open for public comment.
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Elena Chip, would you please come to the podium? Would you state your name, address, and group affiliation if appropriate?
Elena Chip, 52 Fowler Boulevard, Edison, New Jersey. I am the Belleville Education Association Vice President. I am here this evening to share some concerns and provide feedback on the newly issued radio frequency identification badges, also known as RFID, and possible breaches in your costly state-of-the-art surveillance system. To date, RFID badges have been issued to staff and students of some elementary schools, middle school, and high school. The staff has reported back the following malfunctions with the RFID badges. Many staff members cannot access faculty restrooms, but student IDs allow students access to faculty restrooms. Boys' IDs allow access to the girls' restroom, and vice versa. Some staff IDs do not permit them in the building or in the classroom. Additionally, staff has reported inequity with the surveillance installation that we believe might be a breach in security. There appears to be no surveillance in administrative offices, the superintendent's office, or conference room in the central office. This obviously allows for lack of transparency, but it also speaks to an overall disregard for total school safety. Moreover, there are no surveillance cameras in any of the stairwells of the buildings, and motion detectors on the doors exiting the building actually disengage the locks when someone passes. Additionally, there seems to be a sense of irony that the company that is supposed to provide the security system for our district is going unchecked. Clarity employees roam our schools at will. Have they been background checked and screened by our school district as all school employees have and should be? Are they being held to the same standards of conduct and safety as other board employees? And who do we talk to if there is a problem? Finally, there appears to be an inconsistency in who is required to wear these badges. Not all staff have electronic IDs, and some administrators, including those in central office, don't wear them. Some staff members have been given permission not to wear them because of predetermined health issues, and that raises many questions. The bottom line is that this surveillance system that we simply had to install in order to maintain security and safety is not all it's cracked up to be. It has been haphazardly implemented and shoddily overseen. We feel that Belleville deserves better. Thank you.
Tom McCrowan, Continental Avenue, Belleville. Once again, I would like to point out that it wasn't until this afternoon that the agenda was made available to the public on the internet. I think that really hurts the audience. They're not sure what they will or will not be talking about because they don't get to see it until it's here in the auditorium. I have a question tonight on two of the agenda items. Under Board Action, Board Policy number 4, it states approve the school principals as attendance officers for their respective schools. Is that a change in whatever it is we've been doing? I mean, if it isn't, I assume there wouldn't be a resolution, but I just wonder.
We renew it every year. It's been like that for several years.
So the principal is the one who reports to the central office who's absent that day. Is that students and teachers, or just students?
Students and teachers have all reported.
And under the purchasing and business services, D, they mention a company, or they mention somebody in paragraph 4. I don't know if it's the lead agency or the lead agency. I'm assuming it was lead agency, but I don't know since they're both spelled the same way. But anyway, it states that that agency will be, it seems to, the way, from my reading it, that agency will be the one who decides on when specs are sent out, what bids will be accepted, what bids won't. Does that mean that they will be making the decision for all of the ACES members? So if Belleville is getting a new price on natural gas, the lead agency will be the one who decides what company we go with?
ACES has been around for quite a long time. ACES has been around for quite a long time. You participate in the bid. It's your option to go with the bid.
Okay.
So they probably have 300 schools, districts participation, and based on that volume, they get a price, and then we have the option of going with their bid.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Joe Smith, please come to the podium, state your name, address, and include affiliation if appropriate.
Joan Schmidt, 61 Hill Street. Now, I see on the outsourced IT department specs, it says the background checks must be performed on all staff members before they will be allowed to work on-site within the school district. Do you have copies of that? Are they doing it? Are they doing background checks?
Yes.
You have proof of it?
They're scheduled to go to more. Yes. The company that does it for the state, they are appointed scheduled to go there. Yes.
Oh, because you know the owner's been in jail, so do you really trust him?
Is that relevant?
Remember, if anything happens, the ultimate responsibility is on each and every one of you. Another thing we're talking about is clarity. I found a glitch in your system. I came here last week to pick up an Oprah. And as I approached the door, this nice gentleman was coming out with a suit on, and he opened the door and he held it open for me to go in. When I got in, one of the workers there said, "How'd you get in that door?" I said, "That nice man let me in here." Something's wrong because you're not telling the people that they're not supposed to open the door and let anybody in. So there's another glitch in your $2 million security system. Then I was told after about the security guy in the back that you're supposed to go through him, and that's where I left. Apparently that man didn't know you're supposed to go there and leave from there and go from there. So there's another glitch. They're opening doors and letting anybody in. I guess he thought I was just a nice lady and he opened the door for me and I opened it. I could have been anybody.
Thank you for your comments. Michael Diaz, please come to the podium, state your name, address, and affiliation if appropriate.
Michael Diaz, 77 Center Street. Good evening. My name is Michael Diaz and I'm the Belleville Education Association's Communication Committee Chairperson. I'm also a proud teacher and resident here in Belleville. Last month, I spoke to you about the BEA's ongoing concerns regarding the technology issues within our schools. You may recall that at that time, I told you that the BEA conducted an on-site assessment to understand the full scope of the problem And now that the results have been compiled and analyzed, I'm sure you'll agree that the results are simply mind-blowing. Not only are our districts lacking in the tools our students need to become 21st century ready, but the equipment we do have is inoperable, mismatched, and downright antiquated. I am not exaggerating. There is no consistency among the schools. Teachers are using their personal computers to conduct lessons, and the number of outstanding IT requests, many of which gone unaddressed for months, is staggering. Even the small steps that are taken to enhance the classroom experience are half-baked. The smart boards that some schools have, and not all elementary school classrooms are lucky enough to have them, are either not working or lack the parts and other equipment needed to fully operate. It is nothing short of a disgrace. I know that you've been told that the administration is committed to improving the technology needs in our schools. And it's a good thing that they are, because there's lots of work to be done. But it's going to take all of us, teachers, parents, board members, community residents, to commit to holding them accountable. There's simply no excuse for dragging their feet any longer. Belleville's children deserve better. That's why the BEA has ensured that all stakeholders have access to our on-site survey results, and why we are committed to updating the results as items are addressed and problems corrected. And rest assured, we will also help Superintendent Feldman spend that $1 million that she announced will be used to make technological improvements through our district. Parents and community residents can monitor the progress by visiting the BEA's website at www.bellevilleunited.org. I urge this board to do the same to ensure that you are being told is actually what occurred. However, so that we can all begin on the same page, I brought copies of the on-site survey for each of you tonight to review. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's time to stop turning a blind eye to the problem and instead work together to ensure that we are united in our efforts for a better Belleville. Please don't let us down.
My name is Charles Piscino, 153 Passaic Avenue, Belleville. I'm here to ask a question. I want to know, I'm also the president of the Crossing Guards Association. I would like to know why I was thrown out of my parking space at number 7 school when I've been parking there for 10 years since I've been on that post. And I was told if I didn't take my car out of there, it would be towed. I want an answer.
Sir, I don't know who asked you to move your car. I don't know why your vehicle.
It was sent to me
But the other,
by
sir,
the Board of Ed.
you asked me a question. Would you like me to answer you, sir?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know who asked you to move your car, sir. I understand that you've been there for 10 years. I don't know who asked you to move it. But are you a board employee?
Am I what?
Are you a Board of Ed employee?
No, I'm a crossing guard.
I understand that, sir. And I understand that they've been accommodating me for all those years. Now, I don't know who asked you to move, but that parking is reserved for Board of Education employees, sir, one of which you are not. Now, I'm not saying that it's correct that they did that, and I will definitely take, excuse me, thank you. I will take efforts to look into why you were asked to move from your spot, sir, okay?
I was told by the security guard at the front door there.
Okay, sir. We'll look into it and find out
to
what
move my car right then and there.
If you can leave your name and your information, we'll get back to you. We'll find out.
Not my name.
Very good. We'll look into it. So I don't know why you were asked to move, but you do understand that that is reserved for board employees.
Well, I understand that this
And I understand that they've accommodated you.
town people's parking lot, not privately owned by the Board of Ed.
Actually, sir,
We paid for that.
Sir, it's not public parking. It's Board of Education.
Since when?
Sir, it's
No,
public.
no, man. Since when?
Sir,
We paid for that parking lot with our taxes.
Sir,
We paid
that
your
does not
salary
entitle,
with our
that
taxes.
does not entitle to all the public, that you're saying that with your argument, sir, everyone should be allowed to park there. That's not the case, sir. We will find out why. We will try to accommodate you. We will, I'm not sure why you were told that you weren't, but we'll look into it and we'll get back to you about that, okay?
All right.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Milden, please come to the podium, state your name, your address, and your group affiliation if appropriate.
Bill Milden, Humble Street, Belleville. Notice that where it says there was something about a 20-page self-assessment to measure how well it met Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act requirements. Bell was the second in Essex County. The thing that caught my eye was it said self-assessment. They assess themselves, is that how that comes about? It says self-assessment. Each school, apparently, they came second in Essex County.
According to there was a criteria that they had to find, that they had to follow. And they did a self-assessment, which was then turned in and graded.
Well, how come they weren't assessed by somebody else?
They are assessed once we put through our information, then they get assessed. But they self-assess their information and it goes
The entire process is a self-assessment process for every single district. They go through, they look at the number of incidents, what types of incidents they were, that we have reported all along. It's not information that you just self-assess. This is information that's reported on reports to the state each month into a certain system by the state. And then when they review that, along with when we assess ourselves, that's how it's determined. It's not just because we think we're wonderful. No, that's not the way it's done. It's done by a grading system.
I was also, Charlie had mentioned that about parking in that lot. I would think that after all those years, the jobs that
So
they
is that
do
germane
there.
to the education of our children?
Pardon?
Is that germane to the education of our children?
Yeah, but they have to cross them to get there.
Sir, that's a totally different issue. We'll take that.
And I've noticed this is about the 5th time I've been here. There's always police here. How come?
Security.
Pardon?
Security.
Security.
Yes, sir.
They should be out on the street protecting us from all the felons that are on parole.
Please come to the podium, state your name, your address, and your affiliation if appropriate.
Good evening. Mary Ellen Hanosky, 740 Mill Street, Belleville. Can you hear me with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Since we now have severe weather patterns due to global warming, I'd like to suggest that the allocated snow days in the calendar be increased from 4 to 6. The 2 days could be taken from the winter break. The students get enough of snow days off in February. They would still have a long weekend with the President's Day holiday off. This is a better idea than having to shorten the spring break if needed. March is a full month with no holidays, and the spring usually has warmer temperatures, so the students can better enjoy the time off. Please consider this suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff Madden, please come to the podium, state your name, address, and group affiliation if appropriate, sir.
Jeff Mattingly, 56 Walnut Street. I'd like to address Dr. Feldman, if I may, through the chair. At your last meeting that you attended, I think it was February 24th, Mrs. Feldman, excuse me. You spoke to $1 million ready to go, as I believe Mr. Diaz just spoke to. And in this time of deficit spending, and I mean, can you tell me exactly where that money is coming from? No desire to answer?
Do you want to answer?
No? Sure, yeah, please.
We are working on several grants that we expect to have money come in, and several people who are going to assist us in securing the sufficient funds to be able to replace everything that we need.
Okay, well then, I'd like to wonder why then you stated at the 24th meeting of February that you had a Talent 21 grant ready to go. Was your response when Mr. Diaz stated his position that, and everyone clapped to the fact that you said that it's on video.
Talent 21?
Talent 21. You said it on YouTube video for the 24th of February meeting. That was a grant that closed on June 30th, was distributed in 2010, and was a limited application grant.
That was, Talent 21 is the old grant that we had gotten funding on. That's not the grant that I talked about now. I talked about Talent 21 was an old grant that we had received previously.
You said Talent 21 ready to go, and you went into, you had previously stated that grant money was available and that it was
If
ready to go.
If that's what you heard, then I'm sorry because I didn't say that. Talent 21 was an
I'll
old
be sure
grant.
and send you the link. I don't want to use my whole 5 minutes on that. The cable station that I asked you to respond to, when was that was shut off? You pointed to the date about 2 years ago by Mr. Picardo. Well, if he turned it off and he was superintendent, you can turn it on as superintendent, can't you?
Your question to me was, when did it, who turned it off and how it was turned off?
Who and when?
Correct.
So you're
that
asking
was the
that
answer.
we publicize the meetings? That's what you're asking here, sir?
Pardon me?
Are you asking that we transmit?
Yes, I very much want that to happen, yeah.
Okay, we'll take that under consideration, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, do we have a advanced placement course in the high courses in the middle school any longer? Do they exist any longer?
Advanced placement courses?
Yeah, high school advanced placement.
And high school advanced placement
and middle
courses
school,
and
no?
college courses. Middle school, I believe, has an algebra course or a course that there's no such thing as advanced placement.
Well,
you're talking about a gifted program?
Gifted, yeah, exactly. Under No Child Left Behind, isn't that supposed to be a part of the curriculum?
No.
No, it isn't. Only in high school?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to ask further about the domicile investigators. I received back the same 3 questions that I asked you. That I was asserting that we had experienced an increase in enrollment, which you had said was not true, and you gave me the numbers. I appreciate that. Thank you. However, in reading the report by the auditor, he said that your numbers didn't agree with the audited numbers by about 135 students. In fact, he said that 2 of the students weren't registered at all that were in the system. There was no accountability for them at all in the audit. 2012.
What I gave you were the numbers that were reported to the state and confirmed by the state as the numbers
which
that
were
we have.
refuted by the auditor.
I'm going to have to take a look at the
Okay.
report.
All right.
I will check that.
All right. Okay, then I'm just concerned with the hiring and the pay increases that are going on right now while the budget is frozen. Am I losing my mic here? I guess I don't want to hear it. At any rate, at this point, here's what I'd like to say. Let's just go to the point. This meeting is out of order. You don't notify us 48 hours in advance of the agenda. You are all in consistent violation of sunshine laws. This board can be held personally liable and are grounds for your removal and nullify your
Mr.
votes.
Pettis, your time is up.
I'm sorry.
Meetings Act, they've all been published, and we are not obligated to publish the agenda 48 hours. It's the basic agenda, not the detailed agenda. Sir, I would suggest that you go back and look at the law more closely because you're wrong. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry. My time's up.
Good evening. Couple of notes I'd like to bring up. First of all, I just wanted to clarify, I brought it up a couple of meetings ago in reference to the lockers at the middle school, and I had to go for it myself. I forgot the name of the teacher who actually escorted me through the school. She's a supervisor there. She's like, there you go, yes. She was very kind and escorted me to the lockers. We actually inspected my daughter's locker, and I just want to correct the misinformation that I relayed before, that the lockers are adequate size. My daughter just chose not to wear a coat, and after that meeting, she's wearing a coat. Thank you for taking care of the buses since that time as well. She hasn't missed a bus, and the bus coming. But there is a problem, and I think that we need to address this. We have to have a little bit more communication with the crossing guards, because specifically at the stop that my daughter's at, the kids hang out there and don't take the first bus or second bus. They let them go, and they hang out there to the very end, sometimes even missing the bus on purpose. So that's something that needs to be looked at. That could be a very serious truancy problem, excuse me, especially with the warmer weather coming. So I'd appreciate if you look into that. I don't know who to specifically thank, but we purchased TVs with the help of the Belleville Education Fund, where they met they matched what we raised during the holiday season, and we purchased 20 TVs for School 4. The gentleman who worked for the Board of Ed, I'm not sure what exactly they do, but they installed all the TVs and mounted them on the walls, so thank you. I also want to commend, this was a very rough winter season, and I want to specifically commend the janitors of School 4 who did an excellent job of keeping the sidewalks and the schoolyard and the staircases clear. They did an excellent job there as well. I have a question in regard to, I was doing some research on the park testing, and I think it's a good idea that we are doing like a practice run this year, I believe is what we're doing, and so the kids can get familiar with the equipment and work out glitches. I don't know if, do we have someone involved that is troubleshooting all of these glitches? Because on this park website, I noticed that teachers from other districts, other states were, some of them were raving about it, how it was good, and then some of them were complaining about some of the glitches, or noting, not complaining, noting some of the glitches they encountered. So I'm wondering if we're doing the same.
Yes, all of the incidents that arise, and that's why this is a test.
Right.
That's why we're only doing samples in all the schools. All of the incidents that are arising from any of the schools are being reported. We have a liaison to park that we work with directly that we call. And the glitches are from a little bit from both sides till they even it out. And that's why they put this in place in the first place, so that when the real test comes, they eliminate all these issues.
Because there was one thing I saw in particular that several states or districts were having that when they were completed with some part of the test, they were supposed to say submitted, and then they were locking out, and it was taking them a while to get back in. So I was wondering if we were encountering the same things.
Yes, that's the most common error across the states.
And now is that our problem, or is that our mistake?
Well, no. Right now, that's a problem that Pearson
So they're
has.
working on that. Okay.
Yes.
Also, a question I had in regards to the cameras being installed in the schools. There's an enormous amount of cameras being installed, and it's very easy to lose track of it. Do we have, like, for lack of a better term, a bean counter who is actually inspecting the work and making sure that the cameras are being put in the right spot, or that the right amount of cameras going in? I'm just saying that because, for example, in my expertise working in construction, when we have sprinklers installed in the building, we have a superintendent who actually walks around and checks that they're in the right spot, and that we have the right amount of sprinkler heads, and then someone from the Department of Buildings comes and inspects that as well. So are we doing that as well with the camera installation?
That's being handled by Mr. Fasell.
Who's that?
He's the head of buildings and ground.
He's okay. All right. And then in the last meeting, in my statement, I know that there was a point where it was brought up that teachers felt that they were being harassed and bullied, and I requested that, somehow we meet. And I know Mrs. Lombardi reached out in her statement and she asked any teacher to come forward. So I was curious if we had any of these meetings and any of this was addressed. Did any teacher step forward?
If Mrs. Lombardi would like to give you an answer, Mr. Martinez, your time is up, sir. Ms. Lombardi, if you want to answer.
I've heard from a couple of teachers, but there have not been any meetings. Waiting on the district to how we're going to address that. We just received that folder tonight. So hopefully we'll be looking into addressing it, and if not, then I will meet with those people. Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Vincent Frantantoni, please come to the podium, state your name, address, and proof of use of office.
Vincent Frantantoni, 129 Mount Prospect Theater. Through the Chairman, I'd just like to address the trustee Longo. I just want to let him know I support him at last Tuesday's council meeting. He addressed the council in regards to that disgusting flyer that was sent out that implicated members of his family. I support your institute in lawsuit. I hope you pursue it, and I hope you're successful on it. That was an example of utter disrespect and contempt for citizens. But that brings to mind, how is that any different than what this board has done to the citizens and the students and the teachers of the system? We've eliminated the videotaping of board meetings. Many citizens are unable to get to meetings, and they were glad to see those proceedings in their home. Many couldn't get here because of age, because of working late, or other family matters. But you took that privilege away from us. How is that any different from the disrespect? We used to be allowed 10 minutes to speak, and that was cut to 5 minutes, and you rarely answer us. And then you cut off citizens when you don't like what they ask, like you just did to Mr. Madden.
Well, that's incorrect.
How is this any different from harassing our teachers and employees for political reasons? And how is that any different than failing to provide the tools and equipment to properly educate our students? And how is it any different from all the poor actions that have generated many lawsuits from the Board of Education to the students? This is disgraceful conduct, and like I said, for over 3 decades, I have never seen a worse Board of Education. On a good note, I'd like to commend Ms. Lombardi. She knows how to use a microphone. I wish the rest of you could take a lesson so we can hear. You got to bring it up close to your mouth and all that. Now, I hope the supervisor and maintenance position, when that comes available, I hope it is widely advertised, not only in the local Belleville paper, but widely, so we can get the most qualified for a position. And I hope it's not another disrespectful to just do another political appointment. We need the best in our school system. And when you get someone who claims qualification that he's built all these public buildings around state, I hope you really inspect the qualifications for that. So, once again, I'm asking you to stop the harassing of our citizens, teachers, and students, and let's get a more formal vote. One final question, one final statement I want to make is the move to November election. I spoke in front of this when it was initiated. I'm very much against it for many reasons. Many of the reasons I proposed and others proposed why we're against it is now come to fruition. In Bergen County, they've had problems with it. And the county clerk indicated that the school election moved to November has been a real challenge. There were many complaints that too many voters failed to get that far down the ballot, which I projected, because right now in April, everybody's concentrated on our school board election. We knew exactly what the budget was, we were able to speak up on it, and we know who the candidates were. My predictions and others were when you move it to November, it's going to get lost in a long list of presidential candidates, assembly candidates, congressional candidates, and all kinds of other things, and questions that would be on the ballot. Well, that proved true. He said moving them down to the right side of the ballot was problematic. Also, placing the school board election in the upper right-hand corner of the ballot is also a problem with it. And people don't really get that far down the ballot. So I think you're moving them to November was a purely poor political move to stop us from voting on the budget, which I objected. So if possible, I hope you can reverse that decision and bring it back to April where we can truly concentrate on what's best for the school system in Belleville. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Michael Mignon, Westville Avenue, Caldwell. I'm the president of the Belleville Education Association and also the proud founder of the Belleville United Coalition. Belleville United is a coalition of stakeholders who live and work in Belleville and whose mission is to improve the current misguided educational system. There are members of this Board of Education who are flagrantly misrepresenting their association with the coalition to further their political careers. I'm sure we've all seen this. Aside from falsely misleading people to believe that they are part of this coalition, they are making a mockery of the words and symbols on the flyer they promote. United means to join, to combine, form a single entity, something like a marriage. In what way have either of you displayed any desire to become unified with all of Belleville? You could throw a number 2 Yankee jersey on, doesn't make you Derek Jeter. In fact, you do quite the opposite. Our superintendent and the majority of this board are so far out of touch with the people of Belleville that the coalition was necessary in order to ensure things would change. Moreover, the use of the American flag and an outline of this country is nothing short of a joke. This country consists of 50 states operating under one set of law and was built on democracy and freedom of speech, both of which you blatantly deny this community. That's not united. It's more like Belleville one-sided. If you want to be part of a real Belleville United, consisting of a unified coalition of those who live and work in Belleville, your actions must be unified with the community, not rooted in selfish gain. We'd like to make it perfectly clear. Belleville United does not endorse Longo Frida or any candidate that uses intimidation and bullying tactics as a means of government. We'd like to also make it clear that these members need to stop using the slogan to get elected. We have trademarked the name and will not hesitate to use legal channels to get them to cease and desist. A second concern I would like to address is our superintendent's evident use of intimidation and harassment to manage the school district. It's been 2 months since nearly 100% of our association declared an overwhelming fear of retaliation if they voiced their concerns. Since then, it has not improved. It's getting worse. Superintendent Feldman brought a State Department of Education representative from Achieve, New Jersey, to present to our staff a professional development workshop on teacher evaluation. This man presented to 5 schools, and though you would believe that a Department of Education representative would act professionally, the opposite happened and the intimidation complaints came piling in. This Department of Education representative made many disconcerting statements to our staff, some of which include, I'm not here on my own accord, but because you, meaning the teachers, are on the radar. 2 bad evaluations, then you lose your job. The union will not be able to help you. We had a rep council meeting that day, and a couple of our representatives had to leave on contractual time. And this gentleman barked at them, "Go ahead and leave. It's only your career that's at stake." Shortly after the staff brought before Superintendent Feldman a harassment and intimidation complaint concerning this Department of Education employee. I personally met with Superintendent Feldman once and emailed her twice. That was over 2 months ago, and Superintendent Feldman refused to act upon it. As a district leader in charge of workplace environment, this inaction says to the staff that Superintendent Feldman condones such intimidation and harassment behavior as her method of managing the school district. I'm here to tell Ms. Feldman, leading a school district to intimidation and harassment is ineffective, counterproductive, irresponsible, destructive, unprofessional, and unethical.
Thank you, sir.
But most of all,
Your time is up. Mr. Mignone, your time is up. May I have a motion to close public comment?
Mr. Martin.
Motion to close public comment.
Requested, I'm sure that you will act upon this appropriately.
Motion to close public participation. So moved. Moving on to resolutions, may I have a motion on A, personnel?
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Jacobus, please call the roll.
Mr. Kugler?
Yes.
Mrs. Torres? Yes. Mr. Zangari?
Yes.
Mr. Frida?
Yes.
Mr. Longo? Yes. Mrs. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes. May I have a motion on B, curriculum and instruction?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Jacobus?
Mr. Kugler?
Yes.
Mrs. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Zangari?
Yes.
Mr. Frida?
Yes.
Mr. Longo? Yes. Mrs. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes. May I have a motion on C, board action, board policy?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Jacobus?
Mr. Kugler?
Yes.
Mrs. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Zangari?
Yes.
Mr. Frida?
Yes.
Mr. Longo? Yes. Mrs. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes. May I have a motion on D, purchasing and business services?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Jacobus?
Mr. Kugler?
Yes.
Mrs. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Zangari?
Yes.
Mr. Frida?
Yes.
Mr. Longo? Yes. Mrs. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes. May I have a motion on E, finance?
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Mr. Jacobus?
Mr. Kugler?
Yes, exception.
This is,
Yes.
Mrs. Torres?
Yes, with an exception.
Mr. Zangari?
Yes.
Mr. Frida?
Yes, with the exception.
Mr. Longo? Yes. Mrs. Lombardi?
Yes, with exception.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you and good night.